Hello, and welcome. Welcome to today's installment of Created for More, the podcast. As usual, it is I, your host, Tombra, coming to you on an amazing conversational show. I've got a great guest who I'm going to be introducing in a minute. So I want to invite you to get ready for just a mind blowing, explosive conversation segment. I have got with me today in the studios Dr. Tiwa Osunfisan, and she is a Christian believer of God. She's a practicing American board licensed psychiatrist. Yeah, today is all about emotional wellness and an emotional wellness ambassador who is passionate about increasing mental health awareness and its management. She's also the co founder and a mental wellness coach with Transformed Mind Wellness, which is a virtual company that offers one-on-one coaching sessions to professionals, mainly physicians. And the sessions use a variety of therapeutic techniques combined with Bible principles to deal with emotional and mental barriers to achieving one's specific goals and purposes. The desired end result is to guide the client to becoming the best versions of themselves in any facet of their lives, be it family, marriage, work, etc. Guys, you heard that? You heard that? To be the best version of themselves. That's what we do on this podcast. Those are the kind of people we want to be having conversations with, because that's all we are all about. We're all about elevating our mindsets, and it is going to be lit today. So sit back and get ready. Thank you so much for being on the show, Dr. Tiwa.
Thank you.
It is lovely, absolutely lovely to have you, and I can't wait to just connect with you and to just really hear what is in your heart for us, and I can and I'm just so grateful and thankful to you. So where I would like to start today is an introduction, because I always read the scripts, right, for the guests, but that's what it is. It's a script. Nothing beats you telling me for yourself who you are. What is the essence of Dr. Tiwa?
Thank you. As usual, though I call you sis, I appreciate the opportunity of being here. Thank you. And I'm excited. I look forward to having a robust discussion with you. So, like you've read already, being a psychiatrist, it's been a blessing, a journey, and increasing mental health awareness is a passion of mine. Again, just because there is several people don't know about this, and human beings tend to judge what they don't know. They criticize. We criticize what we don't know, and there's the mismanagement and the stigma and the maltreatment of patients or clients or people suffering with this. So I'm excited to be here to shed more light on that, and it's an opportunity and a blessing. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So who are you, though? Introduce yourself. Who are you?
Well, I guess you've said the most of it. So
I want to hear it in your words.
So I'm a child of God, first, being a Christian, and with that, being led to be a psychiatrist. So being a psychiatrist, being a mental wellness coach, mostly to physicians, to other professionals, but mostly physicians, through Transform Mind Wellness, and being an emotional wellness ambassador. I talk about this. This is a discussion I can have without reading too much about this. And I get, I'm a sought out speaker talking about this. Again, focusing on integration of mental wellness and faith. And then, I'm a teacher. Love to share my knowledge about this. I teach at work. I teach, I teach friends. I teach everywhere. Just it's an opportunity to be able to learn from people and to be able
Mhm.
to share what I know, so that we all growing together and making a positive difference. And I'm also an aspiring author. Trying to
Mm.
work on a book about emotional wellness, about emotional pain, and the need for us to focus on that, because that could be a barrier to greatness, to
Mhm.
transformation,
Mhm.
to elevation. So
Mhm.
it's just shedding more light, just sharing knowledge. And that's that's mostly me. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and it's just been a journey, and
Mhm.
just grateful for the opportunities.
Love it, love it, love it. So, how did you get into this space? Is this something you've always aspired towards as a child, or did you just kind of almost stumble in it?
And that's a great question that I get a lot. As a Nigerian, people are always very curious. How, what was it? Why didn't you go to another field? That was, OB, pediatrics, or surgery, internal medicine. So what is it about mental health? So I would say it started off as a child, from childhood for me, just having the blessings of parents, siblings, just it just seemed like I always wanted to encourage people, just wanted to make people feel better. I just couldn't stand people crying for too long, or people in
Mm.
distress, and I would just want to advocate and just want to encourage. So at times, if my parents and siblings just would love to be the mediator, to make everybody happy, to be the peacemaker, to try to reconcile what was going on by just listening to both parties. So,
Mm.
that just started off with everybody loves to be heard. Everybody loves to be
Mm.
appreciated. Everybody, it's a universal thing to be heard.
Mm.
It's not
Mm.
peculiar. And with that, just encouraging in every facet. Growing up, going to primary school, going to secondary school, just and then going to college, going to medical school, and doing all the medical rotations, and just realizing, okay, I was torn between internal medicine and psychiatry. And,
Mm.
just psychiatry was one thing I just could do
You could
naturally.
do
I didn't
without
have to
trying.
try,
Yeah.
and and then just praying about it and just seeking God's counsel. Like,
Mhm.
why did you send me to medical school? What would you want me to do?
Mm.
And, it was very clear that, this is a ministry. It's not just a profession for you. This is a
Mm.
ministry. People will come, and
Mm.
it's been such a blessing that even,
Mm.
in ER, even in clinics, it's almost like you're evangelizing, you're talking about God. People are hurting, and
Mm.
pain is universal.
Mm.
It's not the
Pain is
same,
universal.
but pain, everybody, pain is a common human experience. It's
Mm.
just different triggers, different shades, different spectrums, different depths, so, but several people are struggling with pain.
Mm.
And, just helping people, once that pain is better managed, people blossom, people
Mm.
thrive, people
Mm.
excel, people do well. And
Mm.
I keep saying it again,
I love
it's
it.
just been a blessing, and a gift from God in that sense. So
I love it. And
that's that's
I can really sense it as well, just speaking to you, that this isn't just something that you do. This is a calling. This is something that you feel like, you've been put on earth to do. And I love it. I just feel that centeredness just speaking with you. So thank you for that. I love that what you said. It's sad but beautiful at the same time. When you say that, pain is a normal human, it's a normal human experience. It's the managing of the pain that leads and that can actually make people either flourish or go on a kind of downward spiral. And so let's talk a little bit about this. First of all, let me even set the context for those of you listening. If you're wondering, like, okay, Tomra, where does this come in? Always, it's all about created for more, created for more. We want to do more, be more, have more. I thought that, this conversation on emotional wellness generally will help hopefully contextualize or even bring a balanced view around just what you need to consider when you are aspiring in this whole journey of elevation and doing more and being more. Just just how pivotal it is to consider the wellness of your emotions and what it contributes, what it brings to the table. So that's what we're going to be discussing really today. So Dr. Tiwa, I would love you to just expand on that context. You talked about, they're just different shades of pain.
Yeah.
Different shades of pain, and it's how it is managed, right?
Yes.
That makes some people seem to be a lot more resilient, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Than others.
That's the
So
word. Yes.
go on.
Yes. So yeah, just like you said, sis, pain can, there's several kinds of pain. So it can be physical, it can be psychological, it can be, or emotional. It can be spiritual. It could be like there's several kinds of pain, but they are often related if it's not well managed, because pain doesn't stop in one domain. If you don't control it, if you don't manage it well, it would bring more consequences. It will bring more problems. And if you manage it better too, you can turn your pain into gain, into blessings. It's just how you manage, and who do you give the pain to as a person of faith? Is it God? Is it the devil? Both of them can use the pain. It's just who you give it to, and so how you use it. So the pain is I say pain is painful. pain is painful. Pain is stressful. Pain is challenging. Pain can bring you to your knees. Pain brings out the best in you or the worst in you. Pain brings you out. Pain is that pressure. You don't like it. It's not comfortable. But if you use it well, sometimes it would bring out the best in you. And at times, it could actually make you that expert, that coach, it makes you a master of that area, that you can then use that to teach others. You can use that to motivate others. You can use that to encourage others. So with pain, like I was telling you, that if it's not managed, with pain, we're as human beings, we like to control things.
Sorry. It's on my podcast. Hi Jay, you know what to do? Cut this part out. Oh my god, that's so funny. Sorry, that has never happened to me before. I've never sneezed in a podcast.
It's totally fine.
It happens. Yeah, go on. Sorry, you're saying.
Yeah. So pain is a process, like I was explaining, that it either come to shape, to shake, is just the way, again, it's managed. So I was saying that with pain, it's a common process. It's from a bitterness. It's from an experience that it's negative. It's often viewed as negative. It's often viewed as bitter. It's often viewed as you don't even want to talk about it. It's often avoided. It's an area we don't want to go to. We don't want to shed light onto. but it's an area that we need to shed light onto, because if that area is painful, we need to address it. Oftentimes I describe pain, you imagine it as a wound. If you keep avoiding it, it would stink, it would smell, it will be rotten. If you don't go to clean it very well, it won't heal well. There will be bruise. It won't heal very well, and it would continue to cause a problem as
Continue to
compared to going
decay.
to the wound,
Oh,
clean the edges, clean out everything, dress it well. Don't just put a band-aid on it, but dress it well and let it heal properly. With whether it's light, whether it's fresh air, whether it's, whatever it is, but let it breathe and let it heal well. Again, I say it as if with the pain, oftentimes we're not able to nurture things. We're not able to address grow things the way they should. And that's what you were saying, that if it's not well addressed, it can limit us. It can be a barrier, which is why, with the coaching business, that helps me to see clients in that field. So that will be the short
yeah, yeah,
intro
yeah.
to pain, where we like to control it. And if we don't control it well, it's not just pain. Human beings, we like to control, just like our God we like to control. And when something comes that we can't control, we panic, we break down, we don't handle it well, because this was not part of it. It's
Oh,
uncomfortable. It
wow.
wasn't what we expected. So what do I do now? So usually in therapy, we oftentimes are learning it is okay. It is okay not to know. It is okay to break down. It is okay to feel overwhelmed. It is normal. It's now, what do you do afterwards? How do you handle this chaos? Because it is chaos. But as the chaos come to destroy you, or as the chaos come to help you, or to make, as I've seen other places, not all storms are here to destroy you. Some are here to make you, some are here to help you, some are here to clear a path for you. And so for a person of faith listening, I would say pain for a child of God is, it feels as though things are falling apart. But oftentimes, with patience, it's actually things falling into place for you.
I love
It's
it.
just
I love
the way
it.
you manage it. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you very much for that. So I'm not sure I'll ask this question, but I'll just ask it anyway. So what I'm all about is just about this elevation, just impact the world, make the world a better place, contribute, and just be more. Essentially, I don't know how else to say that, but that's exactly all I'm about. That's what I preach. I preach about activation. I talk about how you just get lit up within you, and you go out and you find that there is a lot more on the inside of you that you're not using or can use, and then start using, right? So I want to
Yeah.
just kind of find out about emotional wellness and how this comes into play into all of this, into this chase for success, and not generally success, but chase for is for maybe success in the worldly terms, but also in the context of purpose and doing what you were created for. What are some things that you have to be aware of when it comes to your emotional wellness? And what are some things that, help propel you forward? And then what are some things that could possibly pull you back?
Okay. That's a great question. So I oftentimes would help would start off by, let's go back. If you want to
Okay.
do more, if you want to create more, let's go back to the
Okay.
creator of more.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And again, I'm very big on integration of faith
Uh-huh.
and mental health. So because that, without understanding of the creator, I feel like we can't do much.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that can create more is God. The
Mm-hmm.
person that had a desire in himself, that I want someone to be able to help with mental illness, with mental problems, with emotional wellness. And I want to create her, and I want her to look like this. I want her to look like that. I will send her to the world. Start off, it will be, a girl, a woman, a lady. And, these are the things she will need. I want her to meet XYZ. I will want her to be able to speak. I will want her to be able to, this is the way I want her to sound like. This is the way I want her to look like. I want her to be able to relate with people. So we're going back to the person, to God who designed the purpose. And then going backwards, he designs from a place of purpose. He designs from the end to the beginning. Without that understanding, we won't understand purpose very
Mm-hmm.
well, because we
Mm-hmm.
need to find out what he had in mind. That's the way you want to fulfill purpose. A purpose, Dr. Miles Monroe says, when the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is
Abuse becomes
inevitable.
inevitable.
So if I don't know what is meant to be used for, anybody can use it. And that,
Mm-hmm.
would take me to another, people will use it anyhow because they don't know the purpose. They don't know what is meant to be used for. But you have to ask the owner, the creator, the designer, because if a refrigerator wasn't working, you bring out the manual. How do I use this? And without them, after a while, you call the experts, come fix this. I can't fix it. That's the way I see purpose. Who made it? The person that made it gave a manual for it. So you check it. And then when it's not working out, you ask the owner, sir, what's going on? What was the plan? So starting with creator, for more, which is a beautiful thing you do, sis,
Thank you.
where it's like you said, you activate all of us to do more, to pour out more, to be more significant, to bring more difference. We have to go first of all to God. Having said that, the way we are made, we are multidimensional like God. He made us, he gave a spirit. He gave us a spirit, he made a spirit, and then gave us a soul, and then put us in a body.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a body, we have a soul, and we have a spirit. On the soul level, we have the mind, we have the will, and we have the emotions. So that will really help us understand ourselves. Why do I do this? When the devil attacks, mental illness is on the soul level. Then it can
Mm.
affect everything. So we need to understand who we are first. Whose we are is God. Who we are. Understanding yourself will then help you know, okay, is this where I need to focus more on? Is this what I'm not developing? Because to have holistic wellness, the three fields must be balanced. Without
Mm.
balance in one, there's trouble in other, because they're trying to compensate. So again, the soul level, the emotions, the mind,
The
or,
mind,
or the,
the
the
will.
the mind and the will. So the problems of emotions, you hear things like depression, you hear things like anxiety, you hear things like bipolar. So these are emotional disturbance. If we don't control, or if the pain is too much for the brain, there's only so much the brain can take. And then, we start having, there's the normal spectrum anxiety. I share it as you go into the forest or jungle, and then there is a lion. Your brain goes into a flight or fight or freeze mode. So you don't freeze because the lion will eat you. Do you fight back? Do you run? What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
And the normal anxiety, there's blood pressure, heart rate, everything is pumping, blood is pumping. Run, your mind, run to the left, don't go to the right. That's where the lion is. But when you get back home, you feel better. I feel better. A few hours after, the blood pressure is balancing, the heart rate is balancing. the sweating, so now you can maybe hear better, maybe you can see what just happened, you want to drink water, so you settle back into a place of balance, homeostasis, you're fine, and then you can go to bed. But the problem is when there is trauma, where there is a problem, where there is wickedness, where there is an affliction, that lion never goes away. You don't leave that lion. Everywhere you go, you see the lion. Everywhere you go, even the shade of the lion is almost like you see brown, and the brown reminds you of the lion. It's not even the lion, but you panic. It's the exact same response. And so there's sections in the brain, the amygdala, that's the fear center. It usually regulates the fear conditional response. And at times there is an overstimulation of it in the brain based on a trigger that has not yet been managed. I call it like an on and off switch. The problem with trauma, the problem with pain is there's an on button. It doesn't go off. And then we have all these presentations of panic disorder, anxiety, of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, flashbacks, nightmares. You don't sleep, you don't eat, you shut out from the world, you don't even leave your house. There is that hypervigilance. Who is there? Would they do it again? For a young child, a child should grow with love, trust, safety. That's what we like. But when something happens, there's chaotic growth that starts from there. That child tends to then live in fear. And that fear can come out, at times like she's throwing tantrums, she's acting out, but we don't understand it. So I share all of this for us to understand who we are and how the brain works and the way God made it and how we are connected. And that's where some people would just be like, oh, is this spiritual? Is it not spiritual? It is spiritual because we're all connected. It's spirit. It's the soul region. It's the soul that is attacked most of the time first. Remember that with the soul, then it's what the soul hears, negativity, that then feeds to the body. That at times, even with our spirits, the spirit is trying. But remember, the spirit and the soul and the flesh, they're in conflict. So it's very important what we hear. It's very important how we take care of each level. Do we rest? Do we get adequate rest in our body? This body is the only thing on this earth. Without this body, we can't function. So at times we keep going and going and going and going, and we don't take care of ourselves. It's very important that we take care of ourselves. It's very important to be intentional that this body is all you got to function on this earth, this side of the world. This body is the best thing. You need to take good care of it. So are you a gym person? Are you a massage person? What do you like to do? But you need to be intentional because the body doesn't take care of itself. So you need to see like, Tiwa, this is your body. I talk to myself, you do all of this, make sure you rest up because it's in your rest. When you're resting is where the brain can clean up, So science will recommend at least 8 hours of sleep. People will be like, why 8 hours? I function on 4. That's fine. It's an average, but it's 8 hours because most people, it requires about 8 hours for the brain to clean up, to reset, like your computer. If you don't shut it down very well, it's going to start malfunctioning. And that's what happens. At times, when people come to me and I'm just like, get some sleep, get some rest. And it's not just sleeping, because sleep and rest, they don't mean the same. So that rest, that place of just being neutral, not thinking of the next day, of nothing, you're just being present. You're just being present. At times they call it, mindfulness. You're just being present. You're listening. You're not thinking of tomorrow or the past.
Like watching a movie, would that be rest?
A movie is good because you're just enjoying yourself. Maybe not rest. I call it engaging in pleasurable activities, which is one of the things you can use to distress, to relax. Watch something that you enjoy, not something that would increase your anxiety. You don't need that. Relax. So be intentional, your rest, your hobbies, What do you like? What helps you? Take good care of yourself in that sense. The people. So you want to watch your relationship. Do they make you better or do they make you worse? Do they bring out the worst in you? Oftentimes it's been said we are smart as the seven people around us. So we need to be more intentional about connections, about friendship, about
Mhm.
people around us, because they also can increase our stress or they can help us decrease it.
Mhm.
So people around us can really contribute to that. So we've said sleep, we've said rest, we've said hobbies, we've said friendship. And
Mhm.
again, what is your personal time? You know, the is not just even just sleeping. What do you like to do? How do you meditate?
Mhm.
How do you handle your worries? Do you strategize? Do you have a me time of planning? Or what do you do? How do you meet yourself? How do you strategize for the next step? If you want to create more, if you want to do more, you need those moments to ask yourself, not just even asking yourself, personal time. So for me, I enjoy, I try to pray, especially when I get overwhelmed. If I don't pray, I would be nasty. Nasty. So my own personal thing to do is personal time with God, because God empowers us to be able to empower others. So I say all of this that if you want to create more, you have to replenish, because you can't give what you don't have.
What you don't
Your cup
have.
has to be full first for me to give you some. Because if I just keep giving and I have nothing to give, I would be I would be resentful.
Mhm.
I would be mean. I would be manipulative, because I become
Mhm.
selfish. And we want to do more.
Mhm.
Again, first for me is to receive from God, be empowered, and then I can do more. So see that
Mm.
relationship. You can give what you have not received. So to
Okay.
do more, there's just that there's a need to be intentional to feed your spirit, to feed your soul, your mind, your emotions, your will. There's a need to take care of our body, to have that holistic wellness. So I spoke about the emotional part, the mental piece. At times with the schizophrenia, it was split mind. That's a disorder of the mind. And I talk about of the will. The will is addiction. I can't control it. It's beyond my
Mm.
control. So every you can see that the soul is very important. That if we
Mm.
don't take care of it, we can be in trouble. And that's for some. There are others that is through genetic predisposition. They inherited it. And so with that inheritance, you is just to be aware of it, because that means you have low
Mhm.
threshold to having it. You
Mhm.
have low threshold. Something can take, you just need something to shift the brain to the other side. You just need the brain to get overwhelmed. And that's why I encourage people, don't compare yourself. Our brains are
Mm.
different. The way our faces are different. Yes, our brains are different. So I can't compare myself with you, sis, and just be like, she does it, so I can do it. No, because my brain can be, oh no, this is, you can be aware of your limitation, be aware of who you are, so that if you're stretching yourself, you are
Mhm.
intentional, you're
Mhm.
aware, and you guard around it, that these are the things I will need for what I'm about to do, because everybody's different. You can't compare yourself. You need to know yourself first to be able to do more. So I've said to know God, who's you are, you need to know who you are and
Yeah,
take good care of
no.
yourself. Yeah.
I I want to ask a question around if what are some telltale signs? So on people who are on this journey, what are some telltale signs? I mean, some of them you've mentioned, but what are some telltale signs that are obvious, things that we shouldn't ignore when it comes to finding that balance between achievement and emotional wellness? Well,
Great,
mental wellness.
great question, sis. So, when it comes to once you realize you're not getting enough rest or you're snapping at people, there's a need to back off, which is why
Mm.
you need to know yourself and have people that your support, your tribe. Everybody needs support. That's the way God
Mm.
made it. That's the way God designed it, so that we are interdependent and interconnected.
Mm. Can
So
I just
in this,
quickly ask on that? Can I just quickly touch on
yes,
that? Why is that a thing? Because obviously I know we all do it, but why? What is the reason behind it? Why is it that why do we snap at people? Why is that a response that comes when there's an imbalance?
so we we often treat others the way we treat ourselves. I'll say that again. We often treat others. So the way my relationship with you often reflect the way I feel, the way I am, and what is going on with me.
Mm.
So and people see us at times more earlier, quicker, before we see ourselves. So there are four views of ourselves that I use, which is, there's a part of you that you know and the world knows. There's a part of you you know that the world does not know. Those are your secrets.
Mm.
And then there's a part of you that you don't know that the world knows. And then,
Mm.
there's a part that's, you don't know and the world is yet to know. So that's the discovery and who you can become. But the piece of where the world knows that you don't know, that's what we call our blind spots.
Mm.
And that's where you need trusted people. So we snap out, like I was explaining, because of the different ways that we are managing fear. We're managing chaos. We're managing pain. We're managing, I don't know. We become childlike again when we're stressed. We
So
regress.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? So
Yeah.
is what you're saying in essence is that every single person who is going through life, most of the people, people who will consider as possibly people who consider as nasty people who are not treating people, what they're doing is just a response. That's what you're saying in essence.
Exactly what I'm
It's a
saying, that
response to whatever
yes.
has happened to them. Mm.
Yes, what I'm saying is, you got it, sis. We carry our experiences with us. And so what you see is an accumulation of what I've gone through. That's why everybody is on a journey. And that's why you don't compare yourself, because you don't know what I carry. You don't know what I'm coming with.
Mm.
And oftentimes, because you don't know, we judge, we criticize what we don't know. Why is she like
Mm.
that? Yes, we can ask, but she's bringing her own pain. She's bringing her own strength. She's bringing all that she's gone through that you have no idea.
So
Which is
how
why
come some people are able to manage it better than others?
so again, it just depends on self-awareness.
Mm.
That's where self-awareness comes, which is a gift. I always, at times coming to, see a coach or see a therapist or see professionals, is they help you with that self-awareness and they
Mm.
help you understand yourself better. So some people they've mastered self-awareness. Some people are working on
Mm.
it. Some don't even know
Mm.
about it. I call it light, because once you have that light about yourself, SWOT analysis can help. What SWOT analysis is, SWOT. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my opportunities? What are the threats to my growth? It takes a mature person to be able to get to that point where, Tiwa, let's talk. Who are you? What do you have? Let's find out what we need to do. What are our limitations? How do we get better? How do we move forward? How can we be the best God has called us to be? How can we do more? But these are my challenges and I need to work on that. So I encourage people a lot. Purpose is a journey. It's progress, not perfection. It's not a destiny. It's you just have reached purpose. No, purpose evolves. Purpose is multifaceted, multidimensional. The same goal, the same purpose, but different approach. So different presentation, different version. Tiwa, this Tiwa is the same psychiatrist. This Tiwa is a wife. This Tiwa is a mother. This Tiwa is an entrepreneur. This Tiwa is a sister. This Tiwa is a therapist. This Tiwa is whatever it is evolving. And giving ourselves that permission to evolve is great. But being aware, I snap, why am I snapping? What is it? I'm not my best today. Today just seemed, having it one day here and there is fine. If it's not like every day, people are avoiding you and you're the denominator, you're the common person to all. You need to step back. It's not always the person. We're very quick to, it's the way she spoke to me. Yes. The person may have triggered something, but don't run from it. You should try to be curious about it to resolve it, because that means there's something there. But what we often do is we run because we can't what we don't understand, we run from. It's uncomfortable. No, I don't want this. I don't like her. She shouldn't come near me anymore. She triggers, she brings out the worst in me. But it's something to ask why, and then find out in ourselves, introspection, reflection. What is it? Maybe there's something that I need to be aware of, that person is helping me
helping me.
Yeah. So at times it's not always about the other person. At times we're like,
I've heard that before. That people really, really show us the areas in our lives where we still need to work on. We still
Absolutely.
need to either heal, we're on the unhealed, or we still have issues there that we haven't reconciled.
Absolutely.
So when something just kind of touches you and pricks you, it's like a naked wire, and then you start screaming, then there's something there that you must ask. So what is that process of digging deep? So I find that I am on my journey, and one day I wake up and I just find I'm just so touchy, I'm not quite sure why. What's that process? How do you start to unkink that?
Okay, so the first thing is just acceptance. So you can accept, you can really work on what you don't know. You can't really work on what you don't accept there's a problem. Like you said, it's okay. Tiwa, it is okay. You are snapping at people. You are getting more irritable. You are getting easily frustrated lately. What is going on? Look inward. And those are the questions. What is going on? It could be a time of meditation. It could be a time of mindfulness. Again, having that honest conversation. In that honest conversation with yourself, it's okay to accept that area, that pain, maybe shame. Be honest with yourself. Was it something that she said? How did I feel? How did she make me feel? She called me an idiot. She called me stupid. That really hurt, Tiwa. That really hurt. What happens is we run from ourselves. Several times we run from that pain. We don't want to face it. So let's face it now. And perhaps write it down if you can. Perhaps get a therapist. Perhaps, just write it down if you can. Is what she said. What was it about it? And if it's something that brings guilt, forgive yourself. If it's something that brings shame, forgive yourself. Can you still hear me, sis?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So if it's something that brings pain, what about it? Write it. So I always say that most times the problem is we can't forgive ourselves. And if we can't forgive ourselves, we can't extend forgiveness to somebody else. We need to receive that forgiveness first from God, and then we can extend it to others. And so even the person that called me an idiot, can I forgive the person, or is that another pain? I'm not going to talk to that person anymore. So again, come to the realization, the awareness with yourself first. Remember, your relationship with others, God gave us the gift of relationship, and it's to mirror what is going on. It's to mirror where we are. It's to mirror who we are. So we oftentimes should appreciate the gift of people. We should, because we need people to help us see ourselves.
Mm.
We need people,
Mm-hmm.
because the more we can relate, if we cut everybody out, and that can happen with pain. Pain makes us selfish. Can't you
Mm-hmm.
see? Don't you understand that? Can't you factor what I'm going
Mm.
through?
I love
Can't you
that.
just
That's so true, isn't it, though? Pain makes us
it's
selfish because we
it
feel
makes
like
us
it's only.
selfish?
Why, though? Why?
Because we are in that mode of protection. We're in that mode of um yeah, protect fear fear.
Mm.
Remember that, as you again, we often stick with what we can control. When we can't control it, we don't know what to do, what to say, how to do it. But
Mm.
once we latch onto something we can control, that helps us with the guide, with the pathway, that helps us navigate through it. So we go back again. That's why we're saying we regress to this child that is often, can throw tantrums. We're angry. We are selfish. We want what we want. We can't understand. Pain doesn't help us see the other person. We only see
Okay.
ourselves and our needs.
And our needs, and so and this is throwing a spanner in the works. I really and I made that question, but where does narcissism come in all of this?
So, narcissism is one of the is one of the 10 personality disorders that we have.
Mm.
So, um, when we're exposed to trauma or to pain or to a negative experience, how we process it is very important.
Okay.
And how soon we process it is very important. So time and how. When and how are the two major key factors. If we don't process it very well, the personality disorders often it's a maladaptive way of coping. That's the way the brain could cope from childhood. It's been there since childhood. It's just it oftentimes doesn't solidify until we're 18 and older. But this is, by that time there are multiple experiences, which is why, I would encourage parents, observe your kids, monitor your kids. Things will happen. Get them to care as soon as possible. God will do it, but God has sent the gift of people. God won't come down. God has sent the gift of people on this earth to also be that support system. Use them. Because if that child doesn't process it very well, that child sees the world. Narcissism is devaluation of others to feel better. There is this low self-esteem. There's this shallow self-esteem where, it must be that I am bad. It's very negative and very selfish and very shallow. The problem is that person, you must be down for me to be up. There can be several people doing good because that child, that person, there's something there that was not processed well. So in processing, there's understanding, there's validation, then how do you move forward? Rather than catastrophizing, rather than the extremes, what are the distorted thoughts, distorted ideas? Because those thoughts oftentimes then shape us. If we don't direct them well, if we don't manage them well, we become those thoughts. And then we think the world is like that. So a narcissist has a different, a skewed perspective. Personality disorders, they are from their view of the world. This world is unsafe, even though it's true. But what about it can I do better so that I can survive? The personality disorder then makes it about me, my needs. Remember I said we regress. So the childlike coping skill is often what we go to. So a disorder, remember that is a personality. So oftentimes we all do this. But a personality disorder, the person is often like that. So there are days that, I may become very selfish. But if it's that I need to bring you down every time
Every
so
single
I can
day
have a
in that
good day,
disorder.
there
Mm.
is a problem. And that happens with all the personality disorders too. So we have several of them. We have
Mm.
cluster A, cluster B, cluster C, we have the narcissism. So there's several ones that, cluster B, we have the narcissism, we have the borderline, we have the antisocial, we have and I think I'm blocking on one because there are four in this section. But all of them is just about me. Is about me.
Mm.
Is about me. And being me, like I said, like a child, it's maturity that
Mm.
helps you see others.
Maturity that helps you see others. I love it. Thank you so much. This has been so good. I'm just gonna, as we bring this to a close now, you said that you've got to watch out for triggers, right? So if we're going and we start to feel a sense of, this isn't me, this isn't me normally. Either you're not sleeping well or you're starting to snap at people. Or are there more ors? Are there more
There are more.
things that we need to, yeah?
I know once
Could
I
you list
start
them
to
really
snap.
quickly? Yeah. Could you
Okay. Okay.
list them
So
quickly?
if you're not eating, so we've said if you're not sleeping, if you're not eating, if your energy is low and it's
Mm,
taking you longer to do things you used to do before.
mm,
If you're isolating from people, you just realize
mm,
that you prefer suddenly not doing the things you used to do. There's some people they do well,
mm,
they do well with they don't socialize as much. But if there's any change from who you used to be, and then if your friends or your support system, I would encourage everyone listening to either be a support system to somebody so that you can be supported on your own days. So the support system, if they feel like there's something going on to you, appreciate, listen to them. It's
mhm,
not everybody's opinion that should count, but have those people that you cherish their opinion to tell you the truth. And don't fight them, appreciate them, honor them. They're there for a
mhm.
reason because they will help you on your journey. So have those people that can tell you, Tiwa,
Mm.
there's something different about you,
Not
and
quite right.
listen.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
so I think that's the major thing of any change in your baseline, any change in who you used to be. It's a warning sign. It could be a yellow sign to slow down, or it could be a
mm,
red sign to stop.
to
So
stop.
stop, pause
So at the stop,
reevaluate.
it's go see someone or just reevaluate by yourself. At what point is it you need someone to see someone? Is that a distinction that you can make?
You can make it, and you can even trust the gift of, again, your support system.
Mm, mm,
You are only as strong as your support system. There may be family members. So when I use support system in this context, it would include family members, it would include friends, people around you, even before the professional support system. So here, you are only as strong as they are. So if they find out find out if you can try by yourself. Find out. If you're still persistent, okay, is there somebody in your circle? If it's still persistent, I would suggest to seek professional help where you can,
I love it.
especially because if you don't want the support system to know about everything going on. So if you cannot be open, find a professional that they've been trained to keep secrets. They've been trained to seal their lips. Find them, and then they can help.
I love it. And in my very final question to you, this is just the consideration around stigma. Why is there such a stigma around mental health? Because this is the thing that stops a lot of people from getting help because they don't want to be seen as, oh, I don't want to be the one that's crazy. Why is that where we rush to? And I think this is more where we're from, because of, I don't know if it's our cultural values or beliefs. Um, I would like for you to touch on that.
Thank you. So we, again, going back to what we don't understand, that's mental health. This is the area that is just gaining attention. Over the years, the mind and the brain is so peculiar, so unique because you don't get to touch it. You just get to feel it, the effect. So the wind, you can tell me the wind, you can feel the wind. You don't necessarily have to touch the wind, but there's the impact of the wind. That is the mind. That is mental health, where you see the effect, either positive or negative. Before, and since you can really, even in science, there's still stigma in medicine towards mental health, because we don't understand it as well as if there was a blood sugar, the glucose level is high or low. We can track it, we can manage it. With mental health, you can is the behavior, because I can see your thoughts, but our actions are from the behavior. Our actions are from our thoughts. So stigma, stigma again is not because we don't understand. Because we don't understand it. And so there's a need to increase awareness, which is why, I appreciate this opportunity so much to increase the awareness, to educate people on the management, to educate people on the importance of it. And again, in our culture, because of the spiritual aspect, oftentimes we shush. The uncle abused the girl. Don't talk about it. But she needs it to feel better. So that girl or that boy is scarred for life. And guess what? She scars everybody around her because we didn't deal with it. It's spiritual. So it must be this. There is the spiritual aspect of it. Like I told you, that we're multidimensional. What happens on the spiritual level affects the soul level, affects the body, because that's the way God made it. But we oftentimes try to separate it rather than merge it. It's an integration. We don't separate it. And that has affected a lot of people, because I want to belong to this. It's not a spiritual problem for me. It's a mental, it's no, and I have people that it's not, I'm not depressed. It's that I have diabetes. Guess what? When your brain is stressed out, you have inflammatory chemicals, markers that would affect your sugar, that will affect your normal physiological processes. So they are linked, not separated. When you're tired, you can't pray. When you're depressed, you can't pray. You feel heavy. Even the Bible talks about it. Who can bear a crushed spirit? Who can bear? So stigma, majorly because we don't understand it. We don't know what to do. So I ask all these questions, like you said. So what do I do about it? Okay, Tiwa is not sleeping. Tiwa is not eating. Where does she go? So we don't have that awareness of the resources, and we have limited resources. I mean, in Nigeria, there are about at least 200 million people. Since there are about only 200 psychiatrists in Nigeria. So how are they going to handle 200 million people? So it's an underserved area. And again, people don't, those that go to, even there's still stigma for me, against me of why didn't you do something else? Why psychiatry? But the pandemic has helped us appreciate this. That's what pandemic came to do, because first time ever, there's light on mental wellness. Let's give it volume. Let's talk about it. Let's do something about it. So again, we like perfection. We want to be perfect. But life, there is no perfection on earth. So we keep quiet. I can't share it because you can judge me. I can't share it because she will look at me somehow. Sometimes it's the truth. And that's why it's not every ear that you should lend your words to. Not everybody is there for you because they have their own problems. So stigma, again, we need to normalize imperfection. We need to normalize progress. Life is about progress, not perfection. I teach that to my patient. I teach that to my client. Don't come here to achieve perfection. I can't give you. We're only perfect through God. We're only perfect in Jesus. The world is imperfect. That's why I say that Jesus didn't stay. He left. Because anything perfect. And that's why, even when our loved ones, I'm sorry about those that have lost a loved one. That's why we say they gain perfection. They're now perfect. No pain, no problems, no cancer, no trauma, nothing. Beautiful. And now they're free. So in this world, there's so much wickedness, but still we want to be perfect. No, we can't do both. The world
Mm.
is falling. The world is wicked. The world is chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cycle of pain. It's a cycle of bitterness. It's a cycle of regrets. But we can't handle it with perfection. Let's normalize getting care. Let's normalize it is okay not to be okay. The problem is staying not
Staying
okay.
not okay is the issue. Yeah,
It
got
is
it.
okay not to be okay.
Mm.
The problem is staying not okay. So those are
I
two
love
separate
that.
things.
Thank you so much for bringing our podcast to a fantastic close. I appreciate you, Dr. Tiwa. This was such an enlightening conversation, and I know that my listeners are going to be better for it. They're going to definitely now be able to note the triggers that are often the cause of mental health declines now as a result of this conversation. So thank you very much. It was brilliant to talk to you. And yeah, feel free to share your closing words, and then we'll close for the day.
Thank you so much. First, again, just to thank you for the opportunity. Um, Thank you. Thank you for raising awareness. Thank you
Mhm.
for this important topic. And I would just encourage everyone, if you are struggling and if you know someone that is struggling, please get care. Um, Help others, encourage them. We need people. Please don't shut out. Don't shut yourself out. Don't isolate from people. um, God has blessed us with the gift of connection. Everybody you meet, even how I met Sister Umbra today is another, it's another discussion, it's for another day. Just appreciate people, honor people, forgive yourself. Please forgive yourself. It's okay. You made a mistake. How long are you going to punish yourself for that mistake? How long are you going to punish that person? It's time to set yourself free. It's time to receive forgiveness for yourself, and then you can forgive others. You can give what you don't have. So please keep that in mind. For those that are of faith or that would like to be of faith, please seek God. God truly makes the difference. Is the one that can really empower you to empower others. You can't really do it for long. You start snapping. The person that can give the strength, the energy, and the resources is God, the creator. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Awesome.